Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Morning, everyone in the chat. There's some strange Celtic stories been going around since yesterday. The one big one that we're going to go with first of all is the Celtic. Celtic were interested in Scott McKenna last summer when he left Spain. There's a report going around this morning that Celtic are interested in the Dynamo Zagreb defender Scott McKenna ahead of the summer transfer window. Would that be an interesting one? Because didn't Celtic try and get him last year? And at 29-year-old, who would he be brought in for? Celtic are obviously looking to try and extend the Scottish contingent. Um, and we have said that there will be obviously players leaving in the summer, but would Scott McKenna be a good fit for Celtic? And is it? I don't understand that one at all. Unless Cameron Carter-Vickers is on his last legs, which a lot of us think he may be, but Cameron Carter-Vickers will come good back in the summer. Austin Trusty, Liam Scales. Who does Scott McKenna knock out the team? It's a big one, isn't it? We do need improvements. I do think that we do need improvements. Zagreb want 10 million, which is ridiculous. Well, that's the kind of money that you've got to pay for players. Celtic should have went out their way to get last summer when they really wanted him. Maybe that's one of the reasons that Brendan Rodgers left, because there was talk about Scott McKenna last year. Maybe Brendan Rodgers wanted Scott McKenna then, and we didn't get him. I'm not sure, because was it not Tenerife that he was playing at? McKenna's left suited, so probably be Scales or Trusty. I would say that we don't need to bring in we need to bring in somebody that's going to take over from Cameron Carter-Vickers, surely. Surely we need to bring in a right footer. That's just bizarre. And then it opens up the next question, is if we're making decisions to spend £10 million on a defender for Celtic when we don't have a permanent manager, what if the manager doesn't like him? What if the manager goes, don't know, fuck this, mate, you're shite. Don't know. It's who's making these decisions, and is the potential next manager getting any input? It leaves more questions than answers at Celtic, and it's don't know. It's one of those situations where who knows? Even Charlie Mulgrew has been having a dig at Celtic, as he seems to do on a regular basis. Charlie Mulgrew has been saying over the last 18 months you could pick out at least 15 players that have not been good enough for Celtic, obviously. And he's putting that down to the fact that John Kennedy wasn't getting to have a say. That doesn't explain the last transfer window, Charlie, because Brendan Rodgers left in October, John Kennedy left in October, Paul Tisdale left before the transfer window opened, really. He left right at the beginning of it. Is it the case that Celtic were then scrambling about because the people that Paul Tisdale had identified were not good enough? It seems to be that we get a little bit of good news, and there just seems to be it's just a roller coaster of profit and doom when it comes to everything Celtic. But behind the scenes, Martin O'Neill has a plan. Yes, made me think of Baldrick. And if you don't know who Baldrick is, you younger viewers, Google him, because he always had a cunning plan. And Martin O'Neill has a plan because Martin O'Neill is going to have a bounce game. Yes, he's going to have a bounce game, most likely tomorrow evening, or tomorrow. Well, it'll be tomorrow afternoon because they'll do it through the training session. He is going to have a bounce training game as Alistair Johnston, who done himself a good one in Canada, and Callum Osmond have not had any real competitive or aggressive football against other teams. It's okay playing bounce games and training, but when you're playing against your own teammates and stuff. Training is just a training. So Martin O'Neill has said that he's come out and spoke to the media saying that he's going to have a bounce game to get these players a little bit sharper. Could they feature in the semi-final? Will Callum Osmond be the striker to take us on to the final in May? And I'll tell you one thing. Um, I'm going to say that if Callum Osmond gets any game time at the weekend, he will score. And I'm going to say that Callum Osmond will score the winner in the cup final. Yeah, said it. That's my prediction. I think that, and then it'll give us a false dawn. It'll not let us think about the reality of the situation at Celtic because we'll win the Scottish Cup final, and then we'll come banging down to earth when Martin O'Neill says he's leaving. Although, will Martin O'Neill leave in the summer? Because he's been talking about the fact that um, an older manager, a manager even older than Martin O'Neill, has returned to football. Roy of the Rovers, almost like, isn't it? He's anyway. It will get the questions asked, though, wouldn't it? Will Martin O'Neill? Will Celtic even offer Martin O'Neill the job in the summer? Would he take it? And is it then pushing things down the line? It's an interesting one, and it's all ifs and buts. As we say, it seems to be ifs and buts every day now. Let me jump in. Everyone's just saying good morning in the chat. I would not be looking at any other players until the new manager is in the door. It's a weird one, isn't it? Agree Baz signing a right-footed centre back cover. Yeah, we need cover for Cameron Carter-Vickers more than anything. That's been more than apparent. We've not had anybody. I mean, we brought in Trusty because he was faster than Scales. He was faster at tracking back. He had more pace. Brendan Rodgers told us that. He said there was a game that Scales got dropped after Scales playing phenomenal, but because of the speed of the attackers in the said certain game, he said, well, I played Trusty because running backwards, getting back to defend is quicker. And we will need that in this game. I think it was a Champions League game. So you would think that the fact that Cameron Carter-Vickers hasn't had a full season, you think that Celtic will want to go out and try and get someone. But then again, Rocky was brought in to cover for Cameron Carter-Vickers, so you never know. What Scottish players should we buy? Because we need a couple for the UEFA quota due to the fact that we've not bringing enough through the system. Unless the new manager has been spoken to, it says, Michelle, welcome back to the channel. You that's been away working hard, and now you're going on holiday, I believe. Scrabbling about for a player nearly 30 years old. Yes, that's the Celtic way. We do need some experience. We do need some Scottish experience because we've no players. Come the end of this summer, we will have the average age of the team. When you take away Dies Maida, when you take away Rio Hatate, the average age of the team then comes down quite a bit. We will need some experience in the team. We're going to have to go out. It's going to be the same as what Ange Postecoglou did. When Ange Postecoglou came to Celtic, he knew that we were needing experience at the back. So he went and spoke to Joe Hart and says, do you want to come to the club? Because we really need someone experienced beside Callum McGregor, because all the experienced players have left. We can go out and we can buy as many young up and coming. We've done all this before and it doesn't seem to work, does it? But we're going to have to get the balance right with Celtic this summer, because it's going to be a fight. No matter what happens in the next month and a bit, it's going to be a fight back summer, and we will need to bring in players that have experience to help Celtic next season, because I don't think it's going to be any easier next season. Good to hear Alistair Johnson back for Sunday, as Martin is looking to arrange a bounce game for get him and Osmond fit. Yep, that's his cunning plan. I wonder who they'll play at Lennoxtown. And I reckon you would have to play that game tomorrow, wouldn't you? So then it then gives them sort of rest day Thursday, and then back in Friday to start really getting everything sorted for the cup final. You know, you would want to see how they would recover on Thursday after that game, and then that would give you an indication whether they're ready or not to play any part in the semi final. I say cup final. Keep thinking I think we'll be in the cup final. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, there wasn't a lot of use on yesterday. If we sign Andy Robertson, Tierney could play as centre back. We're not. There seems to be a lot of articles going on about Andy Robertson. I thought he signed for Spurs. I thought he gave Spurs a verbal agreement that he was going to Spurs. Am I missing something? I'm positive that Andy Robertson, I read that Andy Robertson was going to Spurs. Yeah, he's in advanced talks with Tottenham. What is all this nonsense that he's coming to Celtic? I mean, I even seen an article saying that Rangers were for in talks with him. As far as I was concerned, I think it came out at the weekend that he was in talks with. Yeah, 3 days ago, Andy Robertson's has a verbal agreement in place to join Tottenham. He's already got the verbal agreement. So I think that some people need to just put stuff to bed because it's. Yeah, as far as I was concerned, he's already had a verbal agreement in place with Tottenham, and he's joining Tottenham in July 2026. So we're not signing Andy Robertson. McKenna's been mentioned again for the summer. Yep, he was mentioned last year as well, but we'll go on. Trusty gets the chance at the World Cup and performs. The board will cash in. Who's the better player? Some of the comments. I think the new manager will be announced the night before the Scottish Cup final. No, it won't. No, it won't, Willie. That's not the Celtic way. Celtic will never take the limelight off of an incumbent manager. Never. Celtic will not announce until we are out of every single competition. Celtic will not announce the new manager until after the Scottish Cup final. And it won't be even straight away. It's not the Celtic way. This board aren't going to change for anything, so I can't see that one happen at all. I hope his plan does work, not involve laughing and joking with the press, who will rip him to bits if we do not win the league. But why would the press rip Martin O'Neill to bits? Because I mean, all he's doing is getting a bounce game. Any decent manager would get a bounce game for these players. We've not got any games during the week. You know, you need to get the players up to some kind of game time. This is all due to the fact that we don't have a reserve league. You know, if we had a reserve league, these players would have had a couple of games reserve football. But we don't. We have a B team that plays in the lower league that you can't put first team players into to get them any game time. It's bizarre. Only in Scotland could they come up with some crazy shit like that, isn't it? Michelle's got faith in Callum. Johnny Boy says solid shout, Baz. Thank you for that. AJ would get injured shaving. Thank God he doesn't do the amount of shaving I do then, because it's like when you shave your head, he'd be cut all over the place, look as if he'd been to war. I'd like to see Osman and Kelechi link up together. That would be an interesting front pairing. I don't think anyone's been blinkered by false dawns. Yeah, this is very true. It's it would probably go to extra time and dampen the win. Only Celtic could have extra time in a bounce game and struggle to win it. Struggle to win it. If we go behind in any game, we are says George. Jesus, Mark Wilson's the next gaffer. Oh, don't start that crazy rumor. If he wins the league, will he be given first refusal? That's an interesting one. If Martin O'Neill wins the league, will he be given first refusal on the job? Well, there's nobody going to go walking into the showers and offer them the job in the showers, eh? I was going to say something, but it's far too early for it. Far too early for it. Oh fuck it! I'm going to say it anyway. Do you think? Do you think that when Lenny got offered the job in the showers, he did the windmill? There's a thought that you're going to have in your head all morning. We need to just have a laugh. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. Don't see Andy Robertson coming to Celtic, but if he did, you'd probably KT as Celtic. He's not coming to Scotland. He's going to Spurs. You know, if you go and Google it, Andy Robertson Spurs. It came out 3 days ago that that it had a verbal agreement. Um, to go to Spurs. The team have been alienated for 16 months. Yeah, they have that. Martin is not getting the manager's job. He motivates nobody. In fact, he has alienated half the squad. Um, has he alienated any more of the squad than what Brendan Rodgers had? Don't know. Maybe Martin O'Neill's just dropping a truth bomb and saying, by the way, you're not good enough for Celtic. Is there anything wrong with the manager telling the player that he's not good enough for the club and that he's not his signing, he's a club signing? I mean, it's old school, but seriously, is there anything wrong with the manager? Wouldn't you prefer a manager to come out and go, nah, he's not good enough. He's not good enough for my team. Or would you want the manager to go down the road of playing Michelangelo Balak Wisher? And I'm being woeful. Absolutely terrible. The cheap Viduka, um, Junior Adamu, and players that, I mean, whose decision? Oh, I mean, Martin will say, well, but ultimately, I have to say yes or no. But when it gets to a situation that that's all you're getting offered, and you need squad players in, does that then diminish the Martin O'Neill effect by him saying, well, you accepted the players, you shouldn't have accepted the players then, and you should have just went and said, well, them upstairs couldn't get the deals done. Martin O'Neill's kind of backed himself into a corner with this one, hasn't he? Because he did say at the time when he came back, he said, look, if they don't work out, I'm blaming Fozzie and Maloney. If they work out, I'll take the responsibility. Trying to back off that way, but when it comes to the board, if the board are saying that that's the only players that you're getting, it says that he's not got any power at Celtic. Maida wanted away 12 months ago, for starters. Yes, he did that. Was it McKenna that Celtic refused to pay Aberdeen the 7 million transfer for? Um, I, I don't think he was sold for 7 million from Aberdeen. Was it? I don't think he was sold for 7 million from Aberdeen. Can't remember that one. Um, explain why the St Mirren temporary gaffer can get more out of his team of duds. Because you've probably got players at St Mirren that want to be there. I don't know the situation with St Mirren players. I don't know how many players they have on loan. We've got a team of players that are only here to get game time. And that's not good enough for a club of Celtic stature. We shouldn't be bringing players in to just get game time to the end of the season. That's a crazy situation. It's bonkers. These players aren't These players don't have a vested interest in if they win something. They're like, fine, well, yeah, great, I won something. They're just here to get fit, try and get a game every week, and then go back to their club in the summer. You know, why should they care? They don't care about the fans. They don't care about Celtic Football Club. It's a job to them. Don't know. We cheeky transfer. We change a job. Everyone would like a wee cheeky job change during one point of the year. Your gaffer's pissing you off. You know, he's no down. You get a wee cheeky change of job. Go and work. That's like working on building sites. Get pissed off in one building site, your gaffer's an absolute knob end, and you go, right, fuck it, I'm going to this other building site. It's the exact same. It's anyway. Just coming off the night shift, we've got Celtic news. Celtic bench our statutes only when Martin is allowed to move. Let's hope that Alistair doesn't re-injure himself like others. Um, it'll, we need Alistair Johnson back, let's face it, because if we're going to go into the end of the season just with Tony Ralston, we're kind of a bit stumped. Colby Donovan, there's been radio silence from Celtic from Colby Donovan, which is concerning, because if he does have a knee injury, he's out for the end of the season, which is just disheartening because he was coming on as a player. Don't know, he was better than Tony Ralston. He maybe not has been as good as Julian Araujo, but he's way younger. The fact that he's stepped up, I'm still got high hopes for Colby Donovan next year. The exit door is closer for the wantaways. That's what's happening. Exactly. People don't want to get injured as well. You know, your Dice Miders and stuff, they're like that. I'm not putting in a shift. I put in a shift and then something happens to my leg and I'm stuck at this fucking hole next season again. Not a chance. That's the mentality of the players, unfortunately. Benji Negrin up top. Maeda saving himself for the World Cup. Why not try Benji up front? He's got an eye for goal. A lot of people give Benji Negrin a lot of stick, though. It seems to be that Benji Negrin gets a lot of love during the week, and at the weekend And I'm starting to see this repetitive comment structure from the videos during the week. Benji gets all this love, and then at the weekend it's fucking Benji's shite, and he goes missing half a game. It's like this. It's madness. Yeah, it is madness. We should all be more worried about the goalkeeper. New manager might not want Sinisalo. Oh, Celtic will bring in a goalkeeper, but I mean, you've got two goalkeepers at Celtic that I would say are good enough to be number one and number two. Ross Dohan had a pretty good season up in Aberdeen last year. We got him on a freedom of contract from Aberdeen, stole him from underneath their feet. Um, he'd be coming back to Celtic thinking, do you know, finally get my chance at. And he would have been brought back with the premise of, do you know, once Michael leaves, you and Sinisalo will be fighting out for number one. That's the only way they're bringing him back. I think when you look at the goalkeepers, will a manager? I think that Celtic will. This is just a prediction, a septic peg moment. I think that Celtic may bring in another goal. Well, they will need to bring in another goalkeeper because we allowed the decent goalkeeper that we had in the academy, the B team. We allowed him to leave. After doing not too bad at Dunfermline. We allowed him to leave last summer. So Celtic will need to bring in a third choice goalkeeper because we've no one to promote up from the academy. Whether or not we go down the road of trying to get someone in more experienced than Sinisalo, you've got to remember he's a young goalkeeper, but he's a quite a good goalkeeper. Should Ross Dohan be pushing him a bit more in training? Do we need a more experienced goalkeeper to come in? Or would that money be better spent with the likes of bringing Scott McKenna in? Is it a case of, no, do you know what? Let's keep Sinisalo in goals. He's a good goalkeeper, but we really need good defenders in front of him. Maybe there's that. Don't know. We'll wait and see. Wait and see. Um, the whole Celtic team had a week off. Spurs get relegated and he's no going there. Well, all I'm saying is Andy Robertson, there is the headline. Breaking news, Andy Robertson has a verbal agreement in place to join Tottenham. That was 3 days ago. Andy Talk Sport 3 days ago. Andy Robertson agrees to join Tottenham. Let me just see but only on one condition. Oh, if they avoid relegation. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So he's only going to go to Spurs if they avoid relegation. Suppose keep him himself. He wants to stay in the Premier League. I don't think he's coming to Celtic. Only if they stay in the Premier League. The whole board is dog shit and needs punted. Which takes us on to the little bit of news that we broke yesterday. That there weren't too many people online yesterday when we did the video, and it's we did get the information that the One Alliance, One Voice. Welcome to the Season Ticket Alliance Trust. This is a place where Celtic fans come together and lift our voices above the noise and make our opinions clear. The 54,000 season ticket holders are the core of the club. They are the heartbeat of Celtic. That was Paul McStay, the Season Ticket Alliance ambassador. That is getting launched on Friday. I don't know what time at yet. I've not checked my emails to see if we've had any more of an update from yesterday. And as well as that, we also got this information sent through. Our mission is to maintain and uphold the club legacy. In the medium term, the aim of the trust will be to build a meaningful shareholding in the club. We believe that the 54,000 season ticket holders combined will have a substantial shareholding. For every 10,000 that join, the trust will commit 2 million with the aim to buying shares up to a maximum of 10 million if 50,000 join, to create a platform that would be conduit for a two-way communication with the club. A board of trustees, a maximum of 5, will be formed, which will include a combined chair and a spokesman. These individuals will be chosen by members on a one-member, one-vote basis. Until the board of trustees has been formed, Paul McStay will be the spokesman for the trust. That is an interesting one. And then a lot of people, there was a lot of comments saying that who's going to sell £10 million worth of shares? Buy Celtic shares. If you go into Google and you type in buy Celtic shares, what site comes up first? Let me just see. If we go you can buy them on Revolut and stuff. You can buy them on anything. There's investing.com. So let's just share the screen and show how easy it is for the naysayers that say, can I just sell 10 million worth of shares? You pretty much can if you have the capital, because there's and you'll have people that are way more financially savvy on buying shares than me. So the current share price at Celtic is £1.92, £192, £192 and 80 pence. Do you remember when they were like way more expensive? They went up 80 pence since yesterday. Oh, now this is an interesting one, because yesterday, this is an interesting one. Yesterday, the analysis, let me just move this. The technical analysis yesterday was a strong buy. It still says strong buy, but it's the technical analysis says there strong sell. Interesting. Analysis sentiment, strong buy. The target price is £215, which is 11.51% increase on the current share price. And then you can just go down and you can click, what the fucking hell is it? Buy. Buy on eToro, buy on Multibank Group, or take the investment challenge. You can go in and buy shares. Other people will be able to tell you the volume of shares that are getting sold. I've just went onto this first website. And it'll give you, people will be able to find out exactly how much volume of Celtic shares are sold on a daily basis. Celtic reports 28.9%. Oh, here we go. 13th of February. Have we seen this one before? Investing.com. Celtic reports a 28.9% revenue drop, profit decline in H1 of 2026. Boy, you're not another penny campaign's working, folks. Just saying. I'm going to jump to the end of the comments just to see what they're saying about this. Um, Celtic reports 28.9% revenue drop, and first Glasgow Celtic reported a 28.9 decrease in revenue to 59.4 million for the 6 months to the end of December 2025 compared to 83 million in the same period last year, according to the interim financial reports released on Friday. We must have done that at the time. Profit before tax fell to 13 million from 43 million in the previous year. This will have a massive bearing on the club going forward. And yeah, the interim report covers the turbulent period for Celtic, which saw the resignation of Brendan Rodgers from October 2025, following by the brief tenure of Wilfred Nancy, who was appointed on the 25th of December and departed. And it wasn't the 25th of December, he wasn't fucking Father Christmas. He was appointed in December 2025. Not the 25th of December, before somebody pulls me up and says he wasn't fucking Santa. There was nothing Santa about him, was there? Yeah, now the club currently sits third in the Scottish Premiership. Fucking still third. Interim chairman Brian Wilson, who took over from Peter Lell, who stepped down on the 31st of December, stated the press release the company expects revenue and profits for the second half of the year ending to be significantly lower than the first half's results. So, that is a bit of a wake-up call for anybody that thinks that we're going into this summer and it's going to be, you know, it's been a summer. It's been well. I'm going to do a really big in-depth couple of hour live. I might just go live for like about 2 hours, and we'll go at the end of the season and talk about all this and go through the impact on the club going forward, because we will have to sell this summer. We will have to sell players from a financial perspective. Stop thinking about the 70 million in the bank, because for we could spend 40 million on that easy this summer, but the way that the finances of the club, and if you want to do anything, heads should roll. Heads should roll. But anyway, that's for the end of the year. There was a comment came up there. Spiked yesterday because of the announcement. Yeah, it spiked yesterday and then came down again because of the 10 million. Take a look at the stock exchange. Shows you the performance and the number of shares that are available. Let's just do that on stock exchange. Let's just do that live. Celtic shares, London Stock Exchange. There we go. Celtic stock. All right, let's just do this. Because people think nobody's selling shares. Shares are bought and sold on a daily basis when it comes to companies. Let's put me up there at the fucking road. So, opening last close 192. Bid offer 188. 196. So let's see if we go down daily. I'll do that. 1 day. It's yesterday. 1 week. They were quite static yesterday. Went up to 200. 197. Somebody took a bit of profit yesterday, and then it went away down. That's generally what happens though. Get somebody buying the shares at that price, jump up 197, sell them again, both trading the shares. Let's see. So here's well, off book trades. Now this is interesting. 149 shares were sold, trade value 287 off book. There's no big volumes yesterday. Oh, somebody sold 1,319 quid's worth. So that gives you the indication of shares. Oh, there's one, 5 grand, 6 grand, 5 grand off book. And this was all yesterday. That was the 10th. Oh, that was the 10th. So that was the 13th, 14th. 14th was today. So that shows you the shares that are sold on a daily basis for Celtic. Somebody cashed out, and I tell you, they 192. They sold too early, didn't they? They were just cashing out. That's maybe somebody that's been sitting on shares for a while, and then loads of lower volumes. So there you go. That is the shares that have been sold. This is all this month. It is lower volumes, and you're thinking, well, how are you going to buy up? How are they going to buy 10 million quid's worth of shares? Well, there's 13 grand's worth. 13 grand's worth sold on the 9th by one person. 10 grand. 10 grand. It all adds up. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, the clever ones are they're selling it at the 200 mark. What was that? 195. They got good money for theirs considering the current share price. But anyway, that gives you the Celtic trading that goes on a daily basis. And if you've got 10 million to buy shares, what ends up happening is you go to whoever has these big companies that sit on big bucket loads of shares for Celtic. They're the ones that tend to say, right, well, I'll buy 10 million, I'll buy £2 million worth of shares off you for this price this week. You up for it? Take some profit? Yeah, I might do that. Fuck it, I could do with the 2 million cash. We'll invest that somewhere else. It's crazy money to us, but it's nothing to these big investment companies. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely nothing. 192 pence it is. Sorry, 192 pence. But anyway. Right, that's me done and dusted for this morning. I will be back this evening, 8 p.m. Celtic Park time. I wonder if we'll get any information about the game that is tomorrow. Probably not. And then other than that, it's going to be as you were. Wait until the weekend. Waiting to go to Hampden. Who's all looking forward to going to Hampden? I used to love going. Well, I used to love going to Hampden. You know, the day out, because when you're running the buses and stuff, you've obviously got to organise a place to go to beforehand. Get some scran organised for the troops. Then park up the bus, walk down to Hampden, into a couple of the boozers on the way down. Crap stadium, especially if you're way behind the goals. You're miles behind everything. You're like that, trying to see the other end of the. Who scored? I don't know. That's one of the young lads that could see. Who scored, mate? A bunch of old geezers. I can remember one time actually at Celtic. You might still get it. I can remember one time at Celtic Park, sitting way up in the gods, way up the top tier, where the old singing section was before the Green Brigade got 111. And there's an old geezer with binoculars. These wee binoculars. I can't see a thing, mate. Watching the game for the top tier of the Celtic Park. Anyway, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Right, what buttons do you press? Just better get somebody in that kens what they're doing.